It is day one of the second clip for Machine Multiverse 2022, and this one is gonna be a weird one. And by that I mean it's gonna be a very tall one. So I'm already dreading how I'm actually gonna film this thing, but the general idea is that it is a variant on the classic ball lift, but with an extra flexible arm here, which is this blue thing, that can actually move around and adjust the positioning of the actual lifter. So position one is this, with the lift arm at the bottom position. You can see that this can move up and down. At the bottom position, it does this, right? And you can see that it's not, again, I mean, even just filming the update is difficult. But it moves a little bit, but it's nothing too exciting. And then what I'm gonna have happen is this will lift up, right, which does move this at the bottom a little bit, but the more exciting thing is that now you can see that when this comes up now, the whole thing goes up a lot taller, right? So before the position was here, right? It was just doing this, but now it goes all the way up to here because the whole thing lifts up. So yeah, it's like, there you go. That's a better way of seeing it. So you can see how it slides along there, right? That's the premise. All right, day two of this clip, and things are progressing very nicely. And it's actually turning out that this clip might be slightly less of a nightmare than I thought it might be. I don't want to speak too soon, but it's sure shaping up that way. So yes, here's the initial position. And then the ball rolls out. Again, it's hard to film. We'll do it again, and I'll film the bottom this time. So, ball here. All right. There you go. So, it's not actually that exciting of a motion, and that's on purpose. Now, the idea is that this lift arm causes a dynamic motion about this thing sliding. And it does actually technically move a little bit in this position, but it's not that noticeable, so it's not that exciting. And that's the point. It's meant to be a contrast. So let's do it again, except this time, the other thing I've added is the entire infrastructure for actually moving the lift arm. So if I make sure it's on the pulley, actually. Okay, here's the start position, and then we can release the clothespin, and that will adjust the lift arm. Right? So that by itself not that interesting. But then what happens is that allows the ball lift to sort of elongate as it lifts. It's day 3 of this clip for Machine Multiverse, and look at all the progress. Yesterday we left off with pretty much just the basic structure of the trick, and I had installed a little bit of the support for the double track system on the right side, but that was basically it. So today, a lot of the big stuff, a lot of the stuff I worked on is just large, so it looks like I made a lot of progress, but it really is it's a normal day of progress. I said yesterday that I was going to use these foosballs. I actually think I had the orange and the green one that I was using, but it worked fine for the first iteration, but the second one was too heavy, and so instead of adjusting how much weight needed to be added to the system to make both balls work, like it would have been, if the weight was the same for both, it would have either gone way too fast for one of them or way too slow for the other one, or I would have had to add or adjust the weight somehow, which just seemed inelegant, and it felt like it would make the clip, like I said, it would make even more connections that needed to be made. And so I decided that I would just use 2 different types of balls, one that was lighter than the other. So to give some semblance of a match, they are both little soccer balls, but one of them is a foosball, the other is a ping pong ball. But anyway, I did decide to change the balls. I guess the only other thing to mention is what this white rectangle thing is here, and this is to cover up the silver balls. It's just like a very clear signpost that just goes, don't look at this. It's not important. So hopefully that'll work. I don't know. It might not be that exciting of a clip, but I think it's really well made and like it's pretty clean. I don't know. I think jury's still out on as to whether it's actually cool, but I like it for a couple of other reasons.
Hi, I'm Bluekrabs, and I'm going to show you some behind-the-scenes clips from my first clip for Machine Multiverse. Here you can see how different it started off as, and how it was before, when I first started making this thing. And as you can probably tell, this track is going to be the beginning track, and the ball is going to be sitting here, and it's going to turn and go to the next track, and then that's going to turn again, and then go to the last track, which is going to release the ball onto some kind of platform or elevator or something. So once I figured out the spinning motion of the gears, I actually needed a way to power them, which I did by using a tire that has a gear chain attached to it, and that powers the gears. So as the Lazy Susan spins, the tire is going to spin the gears. It's quite simple. It's quite fun. But if you're looking at this, you might be wondering, how are we going to power this platform? Well, my initial thought was to use a Connects motor. I added a motor, so you turn it on like that, and it moves the wheel. Okay, let's do a first test of the spinny thing. Maybe it might spin, and maybe it might not. I don't know. We'll test it. Ah! It spins! So then after that, I added a on switch for the motor, and that's triggered by a big domino that falls when it's released by a lever. And that's what this is. And this is what it looked like. It looks kind of ugly, but yeah. You can see in this footage just how much this original design just sucked, because no ball that I have would just work on this thing. Billiard balls were just too heavy for this. Ping pong balls just wouldn't roll at all. Marbles were too quick, and wooden balls just wouldn't go. These wouldn't fit. So I'm glad that I changed it into what the final take ended up being, and I'm a lot more happy with it now. That's really all I have to say about my first clip. Yeah.
Alright, this is LD back again with another Machine Multiverse 2022 update. I have the my third clip completely finished here, and I wanted to kind of go a little bit more in depth with this one, as it's a little bit more complicated than the other two that I made. Please stay, ball. Okay, you know what? You're not going to stay. We'll just put you there for now. Yeah, it's kind of a mess on the other side. I'm really bad with this in terms of stuff, but anyway. So what this is a flipping and rotating track trick. This kind of came into my mind just randomly one day, where I don't know, I wanted to use these launchers to launch a track, but I didn't want to just launch a track and then have it like flip over into another position. I wanted to kind of have a pivot kind of motion with like two axes, and this was kind of where that came. And so I started by building this in the middle here with a fidget spinner on top of a block, which then there is a track connected that can go back and forth like this. And then there is a fishing line that's wrapped around this wheel right here, that is then connected to an off-table weight, which allows it to rotate, and it's enough to the point, whoopsie, let me not do the thing. It's enough to where, it's enough to where when this launches up from these launchers, it will rotate and not go in weird directions. Of course, this is being done because it was put way in a bad way, but pretty much I had to add some extra bits on here. My camera is being weird with focusing right now. I had to put some extra bits on here so that these launchers could actually come in contact with the plate of the track, as you can see right there. So the first one is just activated by this wooden ball, which just rides along it and then hits the launcher right here and falls into the cup. So I'll demonstrate this first one here. And that is supposed to fall in the cup, normally it does, but it falls into the cup, and this first one, it goes up and then rotates 45 degrees and then falls back down. As you can see, there is a ball under here, and there's a specific reason why that happens. But when this falls here, this domino normally is sitting here, and then it'll hit that domino and falls off, and triggers this, this launcher here to rotate over, and then there's a ball right here that will then roll out, and I'll demonstrate that here. And that ball normally doesn't fall off, but that ball goes in here, it hits this domino up, which then hits this big marble down this definitely not Lyle track, and then this plank right here, pretty much this plank stops, or this domino stops this from rotating further because of that orange and white connects. So it stops it right here, and then this lands right here. And what that ball, that marble does is hits this down, which then allows this to rotate again once it exits here, because right now it's locked in place, it can't move because of this plank and this connects. And at the same time, this ball sits right here, and there's a little kicker that kicks this ball down the ramp, which then triggers this final launcher. So I will demonstrate that here. I'll take this ball away. So that looks like that, and then that triggers there, and then that falls into place there. So this just rotates a degree that I cannot say for some reason. So this just rotates to here and then falls down, and then there's a ping pong ball that sits right there that actually is able to just rotate. This little thing rotates slightly here, and it actually is able to fall out just by the vibrations of the track landing. I'll show that again here. As you can see right there, and then it falls into the cup here, and then goes on the out track. And yeah, that's pretty much the clip.